To call the council meeting February 8th to order, please. Roll call, please.
Present.
Teresa.
Here.
Ralph.
Here.
Bill.
I need a motion to accept the minutes from the January meeting, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Bill. Ralph.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here. I need a motion to approve the warrant payroll timesheets, please.
I nominate be approved. Second.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Bill.
I'll abstain also.
Ralph.
Yes. I need a motion to approve the interest transfer, please. Motion made.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Bill. Ralph.
Yes. Need a motion to approve the operating transfer to the police fund,
Move
please.
this funds be transferred. Second.
Roll call, please.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes. Motion to approve the grant matching transfer to the street department fund, please. Motion made.
Second.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Bill. Ralph.
Yes. Here with the Register Herald. So, Mr. Graff from Energy Alliance, sir, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. A couple things here.
Either way you'd like to do, sir.
Whatever you prefer. We had, my sales assistant, they contacted Mandy and talked about some of the services we offer in the energy business, one of which was the municipal and facilities, electric, utilities, the opportunity to save you money on that. I think she indicated that they do had an agreement in place on those, and that was expiring sometime this year. Not sure of all that, but that was really when she asked, said that invited us to come out, talk about what we do. I'd be surprised if you've heard of Energy Alliances, but we are located in Hamilton County, in Sycamore Township down there near Blue Ash. And we've been in the energy business since 1985. We started working with communities really about 2005, 2006. And really that's been the most enjoyable part of our business when we had the opportunity to do that. Not only just work with the communities themselves, but the residents. And, you know, we've always been interested in saving money. How we got started for the, not so much the big factories and all that, but just the people, the small businesses and people that really never had a chance to save, where the utility companies gave the big companies breaks and so forth. So that's really been our niche, and the communities that we've helped save money, really on the municipal buildings, getting some special pricing, you know, the lighting, all the different types of facilities. That's been one of our things that we've excelled in and doing better than the competition. And with our experience being in the business that long, we've developed a team that handles every facet of what we do. You know, we just don't have a couple people that are knowledgeable. We have people in every area that have experience to deal with all these issues. And then we do not only the municipal buildings, but aggregation, which I don't know if you've looked into it or are very knowledgeable on it, but that's an opportunity to, you know, for everybody to participate in. I don't know if you have natural gas much here, for homes, but we work with gas and electric. Particularly electric in some areas, there's a better opportunity for savings. It just depends. So we've had a lot of success there as well, and we're pretty unique on the way we run our programs and the opportunities we have. We have really the best customer service and our track record. We've saved every community every year we've done it. So I think that's a pretty good record. Also on our buildings, we have probably, we have 50, I forget how many in literature, over 50 programs in aggregation. Municipal buildings, I'd say, we probably do at least half of those, maybe at least 20, 25 communities we do buildings and, lighting, street lights, all those type of things, and saving people money. So that's really something we could provide you an idea of what type of pricing you could get. We just need copies of the bills and no obligation, but you could see what we would have to offer. We would get some pricing from several suppliers and different terms and so forth.
Well, typically, we're under area now with energy. The whole village, they have an opportunity to opt in or not sign up. They're not made to sign up into it, but ours runs out in May, correct?
The only one, the one that runs out in May of 17 is what the village has tied to them. The residential doesn't run out till 18, the way I understand it, but I've had contact with DVL Energy.
Oh, is that true? 18?
We're on two different systems for some reason or other. The municipality, the village, what the village uses is up in 17, in March of 17, but the residents as a whole of the village goes until 18, and if you opt out before that 18,
there's a
penalty.
penalized. $200 penalty per person.
Right, and a lot of the general public doesn't realize that, the ones that I've talked to, and also my question to you would be, how do we compare apples to apples if we have no figures either way? And if you go to an aggregation system, will the village properties and what we use be separate or together as the residential? How will that operate? Because we got confused with DPL Energy, and I don't know whether that was on purpose or whether it just happened to be that way or not.
Well, I don't want to say too much about those guys. We have worked with that company on our commercial business before, and I believe they're bought out now.
Yeah, the companies, they're still honoring the contract, but they have yes.
Contract. A little bit of difference. We work with a lot of suppliers. Some of them come and go on our list due to their customer service, how they treat people, competitiveness, that sort of thing. We choose them by meeting with them. We have to know who we're working with. We have people that meet with suppliers on a commercial end. We have about 20 some that we work with. And for instance, we have Old Chris's in Ohio. That's one of our big customers on electric. We go all the way down to a bakery, a corner store, whatever. It's organic. Then on your municipal buildings and your facilities, depending on what you have, I'm not familiar. Usually would stand alone on their own agreement and probably get a better deal than in the aggregation, but that's not always the case. We would have to look at it and see what your load profile is on the totality of your facilities. I just don't know. That load profile would be based on the pattern of usage, how consistent your usage is. And generally, a home is not that consistent. Some homes are. So the load profile wouldn't be as good. But you have a bulk, you may have a lot of residents, so you're going to get a better buying power.
But how does the resident compare what he's paying now compared to what you're going to offer him? Where do we get those numbers at?
We would give you numbers to compare. You could compare. compare with what you have now with the utility price. You can look on,
Same with gas, and this is totally electric.
we can do gas too.
Do you do 1 year, 2 year, 3 years when you do aggregate?
We show all those prices. We'll do any term, we will.
And how do you go about notifying the residents when you have this aggregate participation? Because most
Well,
people get something in the mail that just,
There's two things. Now, you, with your program, with your, so all the residents can participate in that?
They have a choice.
They had a choice at the time, and our
Yes.
time frame is up in 18 for the residents.
Okay.
And DP&L Energy, from what they told me, they're not going to offer an aggregation again after that time frame is up. So all the residents as a whole that's on that system today, they left out here hanging. They don't have any idea where to go or what they should do next. And they're being flooded with all these
I can make a
letters.
recommendation for that, that's going to be a good one. Is that an opt-in where DP&L Energy sends out an offer and they can choose to be in or not?
The ones that were already with DP&L or DP&L Energy at the time of the aggregation, they send information out to those particular residents, give them a time frame to opt out of it if they wanted to go with someone else or leave it alone.
Did you put that
the way it is?
On the ballot?
no.
Okay, so that's an opt-in. We do programs like that. There are some, we have some programs like that, and we will continue them, but we prefer the type that are the opt-out programs that are actually on the ballot. People vote on it, and several reasons for that. One, it's a chance to get everybody involved a little bit. It's generally been helpful to communities to pass something like that. If they're doing something for the residents, an opportunity to save money. You don't have to participate, obviously, but one thing we do when it goes on the ballot is to help spread the word, have meetings prior to that, whatever, so there's a high level of participation because you want that, versus when you just send a letter out, like you were saying, some people don't see it, they don't know what it is, and how many people really are benefiting, even though there could be a savings. So we like to look at it. We'll do either one, but the opt-out, we've never lost one on the ballot.
But on the ballot, you're not, the majority rules, and so you take the individual choice out of it when you do the ballot.
No, you still have a choice. When the opt-out goes, and the offers go out to everybody that's eligible, no one would receive it if they're with another company because we don't want a termination fee from somebody. We don't want to cause that. So you send out, you get the list from the utility, who's eligible, who's not with another company. And then you literally have to say, I don't want to be in, or you're in. There's
Well,
a difference.
that's going to be my next question. If they don't respond to you, you automatically sign them up.
Right. Now, here's how we do it, because
Demand issue.
you mentioned a termination fee. None of our programs have ever had a termination fee. You can get in or out whenever you want. We will not work with the supplier that won't honor it. That's just been our way of doing business because of the opt-out. When somebody says, well, I didn't realize it, okay, here's how you get out. Even a year later, it's a 3-year contract, they can get out no penalty. If someone makes a mistake, oh, I really wanted to be in, we've got ways of getting them back in if they want to. So it's really important for us to make it easy on you, the best we can with customer service, making it flexible for the residents, try to be there to answer their questions, and to get the participation, make it worthwhile for the community. Let's get 2/3, 3/4 of the people in there instead of 100 or 2, because we've learned that you get just sending out an offer. And we try to do the best job we can. We've done everything to perfect that method, but it's tough because you can't, the more participation you can provide more in a way of customer service, and things like that, you can actually, we actually put out, money ahead of time to do a campaign to help the community get the participation. But I think, and plus, the more people you have, the better pricing I think you can get for the group. And it's worthwhile. We've had anywhere from villages to the biggest townships in Ohio. We've got over this here. We've got Colerain Township, Westchester. The closest one to you is probably Hanover in Butler Township, Butler County. I don't know if you know where Hanover is. It's down around Millville.
Down below Oxford, isn't it?
Please?
Down below Oxford, isn't it?
Yeah, Hanover Township is near Hamilton, Millville area. They had it on the ballot last fall, and they're going to have the price next week. They'll have the price, and then the opt-out, the offers will go out probably in a couple of weeks. They'll get started.
On the street lighting, so you guys do offer municipality on the street lighting, because we're with Valley Lighting now. And I don't know what our contract is off the top of my head, but it was a 5-year contract, best I remember that we signed, don't remember when we signed it.
I don't remember.
But anyway.
You can always compare that. We do extremely well with that. In fact, other communities that have gotten other pricing are amazed how well we've gotten the price. Because when you mix in the street lighting, you really, overall, you're getting a better price. When you put that all together, you've got pretty good deals.
Well, at this point, I think we could probably, or what council decides, we could send you numbers on the municipalities and on the street lighting, but we're a year away from doing anything for the citizens because they're already, as Ralph says, until 18 is what they told me.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to think ahead. It does take a little while ahead. And we've got a couple of communities that we're going to start those opt-in type programs because they couldn't put it on the ballot last fall. They want to do something, so we can start with that. And then next fall, they can put it on the ballot. So we've got some communities, pretty good sized ones, thinking about doing that. And but the municipal, I don't know when they expire this year. There's no better time than now to look at it.
Right, and like I say, we can have Mandy send you the averages on that, because that's coming due this year, but on the other one, we'll have to have a discussion about if they'd like to do the ballot thing or whatever.
I want to pass this around. I got a couple of them. It shows where the electric market is right now compared to a few years ago, and or really all the way back to 2011. And you can see it's pretty favorable right now. It's been pretty flat. You can see it's tapered off, and then it's kind of leveled off. And we've got people, commercial-wise, already renewing things that expire in 18. They're saying, how far ahead can I go? Because it's so low, we're getting better pricing than they had, even though they were saving a bundle. I had one big company down in Cincinnati. They've already signed up. I think they're out 3 years, and they did it a year ahead of time. So it's, I don't know that it's going to get any lower this year. People are thinking about if it's another hot summer, our price is going to go up or not. We don't know, but if you can do something now, a lot of people are thinking about it. We had one community down in our area, over in Clermont County, had another year left. This was for aggregation. They wanted to go further out, which is not typical of the communities, but they already have the next 4 years of their electric done. 4/10 of a penny less than where they were. That's pretty good. They're locking up for the residents. So there's different strategies. And I think, to get some good advice and plan ahead is good. There's no critical reason to make a decision, but if you kind of benchmark of where you can be and what your opportunities are, I think that's helpful to you. Even for the aggregation to see what you might do. I don't know what your PPL resources say, how good the pricing was or the savings, but
Supposed to, the village was on 6.3, if I remember correctly, is where we was at on the village when we signed the contract back when we originally signed it, which was a pretty good rate at the time. And commercial was, which we don't have a lot of commercial here in the village, was 6.5, if I remember correctly.
well, depending on when that was, I think your price to compare was around mid-sevens, probably 7.4 or something.
It was
like that.
under, I don't remember.
I think the utility's a little lower now than I think it was, but I think it was, close to the mid-sevens, 7.4 or something like that. Could be wrong.
I know it was considerable savings over the 3
So,
years
yeah.
for everyone all the residents in the village. My
That's
only
pretty
question
good.
is comes to my mind, the ballot thing, I'm still a little, if the majority rules, you say they can opt out, but I don't like putting people in a position where that if you don't read your mail, you automatically get signed up to it.
Well, I think the key there again is to do some work ahead of time. I think that, I know we did Whitewater Township, that's a very new one over in, they're near Indiana, but they're in Hamilton County, right near Indiana border. They advertised a public meeting and before that, because they're off a little bit removed from other people, because a lot of people will have a community nearby and they've heard about it. So, and I think about 40 people came. Pretty impressive. And that spread, and it passed easily. People kind of learned about it. That was an advantage, newsletters. Certain communities have other things, websites people go to. So if you do that ahead of time, you got a chance to hear what the people want to say, answer their questions. It's funny, people brought their bills to that meeting out of surprise, and, we're showing them what they could say, and that was beneficial. But, if you talk to a couple of communities and say what was their experience, they probably had trepidation just, about it. A lot of them do, and they went through it. Things are going well with the program, so they're happy with that. But it's important to have someone that, is experienced and taking you through that, not taking a lot of your time, handling it for you. There's no cost in anything we do. Any filings we do with the PUCO, anything else, certifications, even advertisement, put the issue on the ballot, we pay for all that.
Yep.
So there's no out-of-pocket. Might have to review a little bit of legal documentation, stuff like that. But that's about it.
Am I right, ours is up in Maine? Is that
The-
for the village?
The-
For the
the-
municipality?
The municipality's up in May, according to Ralph, and the village is not until 18.
Right.
But is it May of 18?
March or May.
March?
March.
But that's the residential.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking about,
What the village
residential.
has and operates off of is.
So you would have time to still put something on a ballot this
Yes,
fall and
yes,
still get
exactly.
everything accomplished by
Yes.
March or May or whichever
Right.
it is
Yes.
for the
You
actual
could.
residents.
If your municipal buildings and stuff are coming up in May, now is an excellent time to look at it.
Yes.
Right, those will be up in May of this, of the 17th.
The obligation, we could look at the bill, see what we have for you.
We'll put a package together for that and send it to you on the municipality side of it, and then we'll discuss the
Yeah.
rest of it on the village side about this ballot thing and the forward thinking, I totally agree with that. But just don't, we just don't like being in a position where if they don't read their mail, they automatically get into it, and the next thing you know, they're down here beating on the door, well, what'd you guys do to us? And so, it's a touchy situation there for all of us, so.
The last thing we want is for you to spend all your time answering the phone. So I found out the hard way, one township put my name and phone number in their newsletter. So you can imagine how busy I was. So I had to be happy about it because they were all excited, and participated, but I spent,
Yes.
10 hours on there. And that's what we do. You have to love it when you can show somebody where they can save money and they're confused about it. But, so we'll put up with being named in the newsletter or whatever we have to go through to make it a success. And then the participation after a while is interesting. One trustee came to me from the township and he says, it's kind of unusual for a while, but he said, the people really like this now. It's like, they saw the progression after a while, it was doing well.
Well, something I think that would help us is that a lot of people are already using an ag division under DPNL. So a lot of them already know what it's about.
Yes.
And we'll know what to look for, and so everybody isn't, but that should be a leg up.
Yeah, information is key. Get it.
That's helpful. We've been members of the municipal league for many years, Township Association of Ohio. We participate in all those things.
All right, sir. We thank you for showing up tonight, and we will get some package put together for the municipal side of it, and there'll be further discussion about the residents.
All right, well, thank you very much. And if you think of any questions, be happy to give you some further information or certainly come back out.
Okay?
Discuss anything further, especially on the aggregation.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Susan.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right, a little snowy out there. It took me a little longer to get here than I thought. I'm sorry. I wanted to come and talk to you about a couple items. One, you should have gotten a letter in the mail from the Ohio Public Works Commission basically stating that the funding is being received for the East Church Street project. And that is from Washington Street to Spring Street. And our thoughts behind that was, one, to be able to get that in place, and then secondly, to be able to go after some money to do the other end, which would be from Spring Street to the water plant. And we've talked in the past about using the neighborhood revitalization grant that's available through CFPCTV. And we kind of had everything set up so that we would have this to be the match to that, so we have everything kind of in line. And then the state changed the rules. So as of the 1st of February, last week, they put out a bulletin that they are changing the CDBG program. And in changing the CDBG program, they have decided that they are going to put the counties on a biannual program. And so half the counties were put on a program of the odd years, and half of the counties were put on a program for the even years. Preble County was put on a program for the even years. So basically what that means is that they won't get any allocation money in 2017. They will have to wait until 18. They'll get twice as much money in 18, so they're not really losing any dollars, but they're going to get it like 2 years worth in 1 year. So they'll get the money in 18.
Paper
So that's
saving
not going to help
thing, you think?
I don't, pardon?
To save paper and.
I think it's,
auditing
again,
and,
saving, they're only putting out half as many grant agreements.
Yeah.
Instead of putting out,
Tracking things.
60 grant agreements every year, they're only going to put out 30 or whatever that number is. They've tied the neighborhood revitalization grant and the downtown grant to the allocation. So if you don't get allocation money that year, your county apply for neighborhood revitalization grant, and we can't apply for downtown because we don't have an allocation to go with it. So they won't let the counties that don't have an allocation apply for either one of those programs in that year. The critical infrastructure program, which was the third competitive set-aside piece in there, they've taken it and put it into what's called an open round, which means you can apply for it at any time, as long as there's money there to give. And any county or any city that's part of the CDBG program can apply for that. So it doesn't matter what year you get your allocation money, that's not tied to that at all. It's kind of like its own little separate program. So that program is still available to you, and they will begin taking applications on June the 12th. And they'll basically fund them first come, first serve, as long as you meet the threshold criteria for the program. That is a $300,000 grant. There isn't any required match, but obviously the more match you have, the better. So we can use the money that we have for East Cherry Street to match that, and use it towards the East Cherry Street project. The biggest thing is, we were hoping for $500,000, and now we're going to be back down to $300,000, which the funding that we have for the other end of Cherry Street was around $315 was what we needed. So, obviously the 300 isn't going to cover, all of it. So you're going to have to probably put some additional cash in, or some in-kind work or something like that, as well as being able to use the match money from the Ohio Public Works Commission and the money that you put in, that's also matched. So I went to the CDBG meeting on Monday that they had. They had their first public hearing, and that's when I kind of knew this was coming down the pike, but nobody knew what counties were going to be in what year. That was a total, secret, so to speak. So it wasn't until Monday that we found out that Crawford County was going to be in the either year. So at that time, basically Kim Keller, announced that and said that, obviously they wouldn't be taking allocation applications this year, but that if you were interested in the critical infrastructure program, you could submit an application to the commissioners and they would review them. And then, but they are still going to be doing March the 3rd, which was the original date for the allocation, even though the applications aren't due to the state until June. She didn't change that date, which I was a little surprised because the training meeting isn't until the 1st of April. So I guess I kind of thought maybe she might have pushed it back a little bit since there's been so many changes, to kind of wait and see. But that's not what she indicated in the meeting, that she was still doing the March the 3rd date. They were having a mandatory required planning meeting on the 13th, but she's canceled that because since they're not in the allocation program, they don't have to do that planning piece this year. We'll have to do it next year. So, I guess, unfortunately, I'm kind of bringing bad news at the same time I'm bringing good news. The other kind of ruling that went along with this program is they will only allow each county to have 2 open critical infrastructure projects at a time. The county already has one that they got last year with their allocation dollars that they applied for. So they really only have one open spot. Obviously we've, been submitting some applications of letting the county commissioners know that this was, that we were getting in line to be able to do something, thinking we were going to do neighborhood revitalization program. And we submitted that last year, knowing this, where we were going this year, to just kind of get our name in there and have them know, what we were planning. We can surely change to the critical infrastructure. Again, the biggest thing is, $300,000 is available, not $500,000. I think with the $500,000, we kind of talked about, maybe doing something similar to the park. We also talked about maybe if there was some lighted structures in that particular area, we could do something with those, which, that's not going to be available, with the change. as well as I'm sure there's probably not going to be any extra money to put towards a park activity, especially since the critical infrastructure is dedicated more towards a single activity. So like reconstructing the street is, you know, like an activity, but if you do that, plus you're doing a park, plus you're doing some demo, that's multiple activities. So it doesn't really fit the program.
So you could do more street work if you could, if you had the money, but.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I guess, you know, that's kind of where we're at. I did bring a resolution with me this evening, if you'd like to consider passing it to move forward with the critical infrastructure piece. We don't have to, but I just knew that we aren't going to have another meeting before March the 3rd, because your meeting will be the 6th, and I know how hard it was to try to get together this week, and I thought, well, as to take a chance of saying you have to have a special meeting so we can come back and pass something. I did bring something with me, but if that's not what you want to do, that's fine. It does not in any way jeopardize your Ohio Public Works Commission money. I mean, that money is still yours. You'll still get that. We'll still do the project. The biggest thing is that whether or not we can hold it over, you know, you're not going to get the money till July. If we did something where we didn't do any type of a bidding or any kind of an award, because we wouldn't be able to do anything like that until we would get a grant agreement if we wanted to wait a year, that means we couldn't really do anything until probably September of 2018. Now, if the OPWC folks know that, they're going to take the money away because they say you have to have your project under contract by June of the following year. How close do they watch that? Not that close. If you got something that happened, you know, that was unforeseen or something like that, you know, I've seen them kind of like, you know, slide that. So they're not super picky about it. You know, if you have, I have one right now that should have been under contract in June of last year, and it's not because of some extenuating circumstances that were kind of out of our control that had to do with the Ohio EPA situation. So I mean, and they're not heating their money. So you know, I don't see that as a big deal because we really want to, you know.
So phase 3 would be in this year also. So we're talking about the other $15,000, correct?
Phase 3.
Well,
I mean, the other phase, the second phase?
yeah, the second.
Okay, so it's two phases. We've
Well,
got
phase 1 was out here, and phase 2, I'm on the same street.
It's on the same street.
It's on the same street, so that's.
Right.
Why did it switch? I did West Cherry, East
Gotcha,
Cherry.
gotcha,
I'm
gotcha.
sorry.
So
So yes, so
it's in 17, it's in this year,
Yeah.
so it's whether we have the $15,000 to contribute to the $300,000, to $300,000.
Right, because we've got Washington to Spring, because remember,
That's
we
a-
kind of did a
yeah.
flip-flop because of that ADT thing that we could use at Washington Street that made a difference with the Ohio Public Works Commission money, but really didn't do anything as far as the other end because the CDBG program doesn't really look at ADT as a scoring criteria. So that's kind of why we did the switch. And remember, we're doing sidewalk, curb, storm drainage, and then we're doing some pavement repair in areas where the base is bad, and then we'll do a basically 3-inch planing, and then put back 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. That's kind of the idea. You know, something that we could do is we could go in with it, with the whole project. We could bid the sidewalk as an alternate, and then if something happened, because I do see some increasing in pricing based on what I've seen, so I'm a little nervous. But we could do the sidewalk as an alternate. You can always go back and do sidewalk later.
Right.
We could do part of the sidewalk and not all of the sidewalk.
And then we wouldn't have to come up with all of the
Yeah.
15,000.
Yeah, and you could go like get some allocation money out of the subsequent year to just do sidewalk. I have a community right now that's kind of doing that. They've got the main street in their town, which is horrible. And they're going to spend either 10 years trying to get enough money to do the whole thing, or we're just going to work on the curb in the street and whatever storm drainage they need, and we're not even worried about the sidewalk, but we're just going to get that piece done, and then kind of try to work on the sidewalk in little bits and pieces as we can, just because they don't see that as important as try to save the base of their street and have something to drive on, that
Right.
kind of thing. So I mean, that's always an option of something we can do as we get, closer to that.
Can we let the same contractor bid on both?
Oh, absolutely.
In
Yeah,
other words, if he's already here, got the equipment here, we ought to get a better price.
he'll bid on it at the same time. Because what'll happen is we'll have a base bid that's everything but
Right.
sidewalk, and then there'll be an alternate bid
Right.
that's a sidewalk, and he'll give you a number for it.
Right.
And it's competitive because you never know what the next guy is gonna do, so you're gonna want your sidewalk number to be just as competitive as the rest of your bid, because you can lose it over the
But
alternate.
what I'm saying
sidewalk,
is, there's 2 projects to bid on here, so they're gonna be, that's our best deal.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, and to have, if we did the sidewalks later, in my opinion, that street up down that end just needs to be done.
It's got to get done, people are gonna be coming after us with
Yeah,
pitchforks.
so
I don't disagree.
I would
My
say,
husband would be the next one.
I would think, my recommendation, council, would be to go ahead and apply for that.
I would agree. I mean,
I think that's where we need to go simply because I think waiting could be more of an issue. Let's say that we apply and we don't get the money. We can still make that decision to wait and try to see what we can do to push it out to next year, if, to 18, if that's what we need to do. But I think it's worth trying to
Yes.
attempt to do this, especially since, we've kind of led the commissioners down this road that this is where we need to be. And to me, I think we can plead that case to them that, we have all our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Hello, nobody else has their ducks in a row or has been having their ducks in a row like that from, what I've seen. So I guess in my opinion, I think it's worth, trying to move forward in that respect. If something doesn't work out, then, we just kind of basically try again next year. The best part about it may be the fact that it's not really as competitive as what this critical infrastructure used to be. So it used to be, they threw them all in and then whatever came out, came out. And it wasn't necessarily this much money to each program. And, it was just kind of like, it was kind of like a jumbled up, mess of whoever scored highest where and they cut it off. And there might have been 8 projects from this kind of program and 3 from here and 12 from here. And there was no rhyme or reason as to how they came back out of the program. So with this being the case of being a kind of a, as long as you meet the criteria type of thing, it's kind of maybe less competitive. It's just about being ready. Like on June 12th, we need to have our applications there,
Yes.
period. Because there's other people going to be
Sure
there
they
too.
will.
But the competitiveness may not be quite as severe. And you've got $300,000 worth of match, which is, big. And you're going to have half the counties that are going to be going after the NRG money that I think will help make the competitiveness of it. So I'm sorry that I have to report that to you, but I don't make the rules. I just try to figure out what can we do to remedy the situation and still try to, stay on track. So.
Where are we at with the Spring Street Bridge?
That, we pushed that back to 2020.
2020.
Yeah, and I talked with ODOT, they're fine with that, they've already put that back into their timing so that we can try to put some distance between these projects and that project. So they're basically, and they have actually stretched the 95-5 program, the 95% to 5% versus, it used to be 80-20. They actually have pushed it back into 21. So it could be that if we wanted to push it back another year, we might probably do that even as well. So I would say let's let this play out, what we're doing here, since it's at 20 anyway.
Right.
And then if we need to push it to 21, okay, but just kind of leave it sit idle in 20 right now. That's my suggestion. But that money's still there, and it still has your name on it.
So we would need a motion to allow Susan to continue with the $300,000 open grant, is that what it's called?
Competitive, or critical
I'd like you
infrastructure.
to read the resolution.
Let's say here, I
Well,
To accept.
yeah, here's a copy
Is that what we're doing? Because it has to be
well, I guess
done.
we take a vote and then we can do either way. I thought you take the vote, read the resolution, and take the vote on the resolution. That's fine, we can do it all in one process. Do we have a number, please?
And on this, I just put that you will budget whatever's needed as far as, I didn't put a number in there so we didn't tie ourselves. I'm thinking they're probably going to be in the $15,000 to $20,000 range.
The 07.
07.
2017-07.
Resolution number 2017-07, a resolution to apply for a community development block grant through the Preble County, Ohio Commissioners for the East Cherry Street Improvement Phase 2 project and declaring an emergency. That whereas community development block grant, CDBG, is potentially available through the Office of the Preble County, Ohio Commissioners through the Community Development Critical Infrastructure Grant Program. Now therefore be resolved by the Council of the Village of New Paris, Preble County, Ohio, as following. Section 1, an application for a grant through the Preble County, Ohio Commissioners for a street improvement project on East Cherry Street in the Village of New Paris, Ohio, is hereby authorized as is the consent of the mayor to sign all documents necessary on behalf of the village to carry out said application and a resulting project. Section 2, the matching fund necessary for the Village of New Paris, Ohio are hereby authorized to be budgeted in order to assist in the improvement as needed. Section 3, that Moat and Associates, Inc. is hereby authorized to assist the village in its application process and the subsequent engineering of the project. Section 4, this resolution is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health and safety of said Village of New Paris, Ohio, to meet the Community Development Block Grant deadline. Wherefore, this resolution shall be in full force and effective from the immediately after its passage. We need a motion to accept resolution number 2017-07.
Move we accept the resolution.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Teresa.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
And I'm gonna need a motion to forego the 3 reading rule passes as emergency as
I
it's
move
already
we
stated.
declare the emergency and forego 3 readings on this resolution, 2017-07.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kathy.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move forward with that. We'll get the application submitted by March 3rd. I'll be in contact with you about that in between as far as the money piece, and we'll kind of look at what you can handle. Then the only other thing I wanted to just bring you up to speed on is related to the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant that we put in for the demolition of the building at the park and the development of a splash pad. Those applications are currently being scored. I'm being told that the announcements will be made in March, so they're going to be close. I also was contacted by Representative Rezebeck's office when I talked with the mayor about this in regards to him reaching out to the village to try to see if there's something that he can do to assist you with the park based on the fact that the capital money that we talked about, didn't come through. And in the passage of the main operating budget, which is what the Congress is working on now, apparently they can put some little projects in there, was kind of the impression I got from talking with Rezebeck's office. And so they were kind of reaching out to see if we were still interested in moving forward with the park project. I told them that you had submitted an application for Land and Water Conservation Fund, and I actually forwarded that application to his office. And then they talked about trying to call the Department of Natural Resources and maybe talking to them about, supporting and encouraging the application. And then I also asked the mayor to give them a call, just to kind of push a little more. And I don't know if we're able to get a
Yes,
hold of
I have
them.
made contact with Elizabeth's office. I spoke with them, and shortly after you had spoke with them, they're well aware of the situation. I asked them if there's anything they could do to help us out. We'd certainly appreciate it. So on the matching part of it, so it's a wait and see game. But thanks to Susan and
Hey,
that's, you know, we'll see what happens.
I was really impressed that.
I am too, that they made the contact.
You know, and I said, you know, that you guys were very serious about it, that you went to this piece, and, you know, it's a 50-50 grant, which means that you're gonna have to come up with a sizable amount of money, and if there was something that they could do out of the main operating budget to even just help with half of it.
Yes.
You know, that would be
A
huge.
blessing, it sure
And
would.
that, you know, that's the only way that anything's gonna change there. So, and that, you know, you were still very, you know, hot in pursuing doing something. You know, you weren't gonna just let it go because the capital bill money didn't come through. You were still, you know, very persistent.
As I spoke before, Representative Redneck was very observative during the Apple Fest at the building, him and his group. His group was paying a lot of attention, and I also spoke with him at the Apple Fest. Hey, I haven't forgot you, so he's doing what he can for us. And then also told him that since our conversation, we had put up 2 nice shelters and a walkie track. So they was glad to hear that, so.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, you know, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just need a little help.
Yeah,
Or
and
a lot of help.
And I was like, you know, really encouraged that they
I
reached
am
out,
too.
because I had talked with a different representative from a different district, and they're not submitting anything. So, I mean, this is, I think, kind of a special thing. It's not the typical capital bill thing. So I thought that was, you know, really special. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of update you on that, so I guess we'll just kind of all keep our fingers crossed and our toes and things. So, okay, that's all I have, unless you guys have something else.
I have one question. Susan, on the phase 1 of East Cherry,
Yes.
do we have to start thinking about the tree removal? Is it by April 10th on the dash, or is it September?
Next year. It'll be next year that we could have. We can either do it this fall, after September. You don't have the money now. You won't have the money till July, and you can't do tree removal before you get the money.
So, but I was understanding the project was going to go at this end of this year. It's being bid, it can go.
It can be in this, yes, it can, but the Ohio Public Works Commission doesn't have those environmental requirements that CDBG money does, so we don't fall under the Indiana back, so that's.
So it doesn't matter on the trees.
If you want to do the tree removal, you know, with your, you know, and bid it out separately like we have in the past,
Right.
because you know, I'm still I still think in the long run, maybe it saves some money, because when, you know, ABC contractor has to remove those trees, he goes and hires somebody.
Sure he does.
You know, I don't know any of them that actually remove the trees themselves.
And he marks them up a
And
little
they
bit, so
mark
he
it up.
makes the money
Sure
to
he
pay
does.
for
Yeah,
it.
because he's
Yeah.
got to mess with it and write a check and contact him and get taxes, and you pay for that. So, you know, with that being the case, I would say anytime after July, we can look to do that. I would suggest we wait till September, because well, we may not, because if we would get the critical infrastructure, I would say we might know by July or August, and then you'd know whether or not you have that other block to do. And then we could do them all at once, because everybody's doing more. But we may have to wait till after you get your grant agreement and after you get release of funds. So we might want to hold off a little bit just because of not knowing what we're doing with that second block. And you'd probably get a better price to do all of them than to
Yes,
have to
at
have
one
them
time.
come in twice.
And
Just
then
trying
you've
to
got
get
your
it.
Apple Fest,
So,
and your bicentennial.
You're thinking
Get past first.
18 for the project is to the end of this year.
Well, we could start it at the end of this year, but then it'd be
Yeah.
it'd probably be
Gotcha.
difficult. The only thing we could do is if you wanted to do the engineering early, we might be able to bid it in July, but you're not going to get a very good bid.
Yeah.
That's going to be the problem.
Okay.
You know, we can bid it in, you know, October or November,
Right.
but chances are, you know, nobody's
Yeah.
probably going to want to even start it
Right.
because of winter.
Okay.
And the asphalt plants will be closed by then.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be able to finish, you know, and by July, all the asphalt is going to be, it's going to be hard to get anything asphalted anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I got to think about the tree thing. We
yeah.
remember that before.
I know. But a lot of times we matched CDBG money, and when we did that, we fell under the Indiana back. So you were thinking the right thing. You were on top of it. But, and if we would have critical infrastructure, structure, then we're right back to where you're talking about. So, okay.
All right, Susan.
All right, very good. All right,
Thank you very much.
All right.
Susan, feel free.
Okay, I will, thank you.
Thank you. Committee report, safety, chief.
Police department handled 107 calls for service, made 16 reports, 3 arrests, issued 4 citations, and gave 39 warnings for the month of January. A couple notes I got at the bottom here: officers participated in yearly taser training. That was for PD. So I'd like to say thank you to Chief McGee for accommodating the department, his officers for that. Bill Sweet wanted me to let the council know that he's really grateful and appreciative to Officer Stevens that got sent out to Newberry Stillsville in the area of 121. On the 19th, to assist with traffic detail, the township had a big tree in the middle of the roadway. So he called in saying thank you, and he stopped me, flagged me down, and wanted me to tell council that he appreciates that. Officer Kathenberger, as of next week, he'll be on his own. He'll be released from training and out patrolling the streets by himself. With that being said, it's also going to change the rest of our schedules. So we'll be able to cover more hours throughout the day and the night and everything else like that. So the only other thing I got on there is last month we talked about the Ohio Basic Code and ordering the books. The books came in, and I don't know if you got, Kathy, you got the ordinance.
I think Rick has it,
Yeah.
So that's the only other thing I got that need to vote on that, pass that.
we're right that ordinance has to go to prosecutor's office, that we have adopted all those,
Yeah,
is that
it
correct?
basically, once you guys pass the ordinance and everything, they'll take a copy of it, send it back to the company, let them know, copy to the court, copy to the prosecutor's
Oh,
office.
okay.
And then a copy for us, for our record. That's it.
All right, chief, thank you. Building? Streets?
Jimmy Rakersdale's got some information on the hot mix box. Jimmy would like to come forward and present his idea to council.
I don't know who has one speaker or not. I mean, obviously, everybody knows what the streets in town look like. We have a lot of really bad potholes. And in the past, we have used cold patch to fix all these potholes. And that's just a temporary solution, obviously. And we end up patching the same holes every spring. The first time snowplow goes down the road, the cold patch is gone. In order to start using hot mix to fix all these potholes, we could purchase one of these hot boxes that would go in the bed of the red dump truck. And it has propane burners, so it keeps the hot mix hot while you're using it. So you could, during an 8-hour day, have 2 tons of hot mix in there and go around patch the hole without cooling off. And some pluses to using hot mix. Cold patch is $130 a ton, is what we paid for it last year. Hot mix is $63 a ton. So you're under half the price for a more permanent solution. Yes, you have the money up front to buy this hot box that you don't have to use with cold patch, but in turn, I really think you're not going to be fixing the same holes every spring.
How reliable is the hot box? I mean, how much maintenance is it going to take? I don't know a thing about it.
As long as you keep them cleaned out, I mean, there's really no maintenance. That's the biggest thing, is just keep them cleaned out.
It's just the source to have it to heat it with the.
Exactly. It's basically just a heated box to keep the asphalt hot, because once it cools down, it's turned into a rock and then it's not
Yeah.
usable. So you have to have something to keep it hot while you're filling those potholes.
We have had some interest from EPA on this too, because
Oh, yeah.
we do could use this to repair spots where the BPA has torn up the streets or drive or something.
If we have water main breaks and sewer repairs, if we have to make cuts in the street, the BPA would also use this. And Rick has brought it up in the last BPA meeting, and they are willing, they acted like they're willing to pitch in and pay for part of that. I mean, we're not expecting them to pay half of it, because obviously we're gonna use it way more than they are. But if they could pay like a third of the
Yeah.
portion of the total, and then that would help them out too, because last year, it's around $3,000 they spent fixing holes where they cut out to fix water mains and everything, so it's gonna save them money also.
Jimmy, on this box, is the only accessibility is from the top, so you're literally just up there shoveling it out?
No, that's
Or is there
that's
a-
how you load it.
There's an access
If you
bottle
can
that's
see
not
on the-
being showed here somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you can see in the back, it's not a very good picture, but right here,
Mhm.
there's 2 slide-up doors,
Oh, okay,
Those two.
and those doors will slide open.
Okay.
okay.
And you'll basically shovel it out the back. The top is to go to the asphalt
Gotcha.
plant.
I see that, I see the doors down here, but I was thinking that was probably the burner. It's burner on one side, door on the other.
Burner in the middle.
It's in the middle.
Burner goes up the middle so it heats both sides.
But the access to the burner is not either one of these doors?
No, that's both shovel doors.
Just both shovel
The
doors?
access to the burner would be in the front,
Okay,
in the front of the truck, towards the front of the truck.
but there is another access panel for that.
For the burners, yes, and that's where you'll hook up, it'll use, what it says in here, it'll use about 20 pounds of propane for 8 hours, which is a normal
20
size
pounds,
grill.
like a grill tank.
A grill tank for 8 hours of heat. So it's not gonna use much propane. And it's just, I mean, we had Milestone right down the road to get the asphalt from, so I mean, and that's where we used to get the cold mix from. But, like I said, with the hot mix being half the price of cold patch and a lot more permanent solution, me and Eddie last year went all the way up Cherry and all the way up Holly Mills with probably about 3 tons of cold patch. And as you can see, if you drive up there now, there's nothing. It's gone. So it's basically,
It's an every year fix.
you use cold patch, it'll get you through the summer, and the winter is gone.
Will the hot mix repair allow us to do it later in the season compared to the cold patch also? Because of
You're running into when
they
asphalt plants
close
shut
the
down.
plants.
Okay, as long as they're open, we can use it.
As long as they're open making something, we can get it. I mean, you know, I think it's like 45 degrees is when they start making it.
They usually shut down around Thanksgiving.
And
It wouldn't make any difference whether we did it as far as getting
No, but
it repaired it later in the season.
No,
Yeah.
but the biggest thing I think that the advantage of this hot box is first part of spring here, when it starts to warm up, we go out and get a lot of these fixed, and you're not gonna be doing it, at least that exact same spot again later on in the season or next spring. Yeah, you're gonna have other holes other places, but I'm trying to keep from doing the same spots every year.
And in the winter, you still have to have cold mix for some of these holes that open up.
If we're gonna patch in the winter, yes.
I
But,
mean-
and we've had people calling, complaining about why we have to fix them now.
I know that.
To me, if we go out there and spend $130 a ton on cold patch, go out here and fix these holes, and we get 2 inches of snow tonight, the pipe gonna rip it right back out. I mean, to patch them in the winter, if you have a very severe hole, yes, I can see doing
Well,
that.
that's more or
Yeah.
less what I was,
But fixing these smaller holes, you're wasting your money. I mean, so that was, I talked to Ralph and Rick about it. I believe it would be a pretty good investment. I know you got the money up front, but in the long run, I think it's gonna save us money.
Rob, you have a recommendation for council?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we do purchase this hot box for the village to use.
And we need to figure out, BPA wants to know how much council is asking for it.
They'd like a
basically.
proposal from council on how much it would
And
like.
a third of it, we figured up earlier was what,
I would propose 2/3 of the bill for village and 1/3 to BPA, if they would accept that. But I can't say that
Are
because
you
it's not here.
talking, I'm sorry, are you talking about buying it outright
Yes,
and not financing?
right.
But,
And the
that's
way
fine, I just
The way I
wanted it
understand
to
it,
be
unless
clear.
Randy has come up with some other idea, you told me that you felt like we could
I think,
find the money to do that with.
I think it should be fine.
And the total
You
is
just don't want to mess with our
$5,500,
set aside.
right, Jimmy?
For
Well,
grant match.
my thinking is we've got money set aside actually for Jimmy's insurance that obviously we're not going to be using. So push comes to shove, we can move that over and
Okay.
do some of that.
My only thought in your recommendation, Ralph, is if BPA chooses not to participate, do you, without having to have another meeting, because you need to get it ordered and all this stuff, you might want to ask the council's going to go the whole route of BPA. does
Okay,
not
I'll ask that
participate.
the council approve the whole amount if BPA does not come in with any part of this bill.
I mean, they're going to use it.
Well, you
Now,
could-
either we
you could
figure
bill
out
it
a
back
way
to them.
well, either we bill them, which is going to be a real pain in the rear end.
If they don't, you could.
I mean, I don't have a problem with buying it, I can see the need.
I don't think they'll have a problem with pitching in on it, really.
Well, I'm not saying they would, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
for the sake, for the sake of time frame,
Yeah, time frame.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I think we should get it regardless, but I do think they should put in, but that will probably happen, I feel. But I'd be willing to,
I'll make a motion that we purchase it, whether they come on board or not. Is that the way you want it said?
I think for the sake of saving time,
Okay.
it would be the best.
All right.
I'll
That's
second
that's
that.
my proposal.
Can we include both things in there?
Pardon?
And the motion should include that we pay 2/3 and 1/3 paid by the board if that's acceptable to them.
Yeah,
We'll
because they
purchase
did not,
it, period.
when they had their meeting, they did not specifically say 1/3 or 2/3
Yeah, they
or
did.
an eighth or whatever. They said they would be willing to help, and that was where they left it, but they don't know how much of that help that we're asking of them to bring.
As long as the motion includes both things, so we don't have to come back, because that's what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, we want to order this
Yes,
thing.
we do.
Because it's, how many weeks?
If we order it now, end of this month.
Okay,
So
so
if
by the
we
end of
push
the
it
month,
further,
whether it's going to be,
It's going to get
We're gonna be
busier.
ready to go here pretty soon.
I'm just trying to save 30 days.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So there was a second on the motion, correct? Roll call, please.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Lights. Finance.
Finances are in pretty good shape, really. I mean, we seem to be doing all right. Of course, we're in February. But our, coming from the end of the year, and the way they're set up, we feel confident that we'll be okay.
So this dental, vision, and life insurance waiting period. Is that,
Apparently, one of them, the dental, says that the waiting period is a flat 30 days, no matter what the date of hire. The vision and what's the other one? The life and vision say it's the first of the month following a 30-day period, first of the following month, first day. They need to be same, so they're all the same. It's just a convenience for the insurance people and,
confusion.
yeah, just avoid some confusion.
So what they're suggesting is that we change the dental waiting period to match the vision and life.
And I would move that we make the dental read the way that the vision and life insurance, after the 30-day period is the first of the third month, and then a person can be added to the coverage, an employee.
is there a second to
I'll
that?
second that.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Sanitation. Planning, don't know too much. BPA, I'm not aware of anything, but I will attend the meeting. Have BPA present resolution on the American legal. Kathy, if you would please, would you read that, please? Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
We talked about this, our code is, what we have adopted is not up to present time, so we had to order the code books and with all the changes and adopt them. So that's what this is dealing with, because the prosecutor couldn't find the exact places to prosecute any violations that we sent to him, because the things we were citing were old numbers, they weren't up to date. So this is an ordinance approving, adopting, and enacting American Legal Publishing's Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition as the code of ordinances for the municipality of New Paris, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Whereas present general and permanent ordinances of the municipality are inadequately arranged and classified and are insufficient in form and substance for the complete preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare of the municipality and for the proper conduct of its affairs. Whereas American Legal Publishing Corporation publishes a code of ordinances suitable for adoption by municipalities in Ohio. And whereas it is necessary to provide for the usual daily operation of the municipality and for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, and general welfare of the municipality, that this ordinance take effect at an early date. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the legislative authority of the municipality of New Paris, Ohio, Section 1. American Legal Publishing's Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition, as reviewed and approved by the legislative authority, is hereby adopted and enacted. Any prior version of the Ohio Basic Code which may have been previously adopted by the municipality is hereby repealed as obsolete and is hereby replaced in its entirety by this Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition, Section 2. One copy of American Legal Publishing's Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition, certified as correct by the mayor and clerk of the legislative authority, as required by Ohio Revised Code 731.23, shall be kept in its initial form on file in the office of the clerk of the municipality and retained in the permanent ordinance record of the municipality. The clerk of the municipality is authorized and directed to publish a summary of all new matters contained in the Code of Ordinances as required by Ohio Revised Code, Section 731.23. Such summary is attached here too and marked as Exhibit A. Section 3, and thank you. All ordinances and resolutions or parts thereof which are in conflict or inconsistent with any provision of the Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition as adopted in Section 1 hereof are hereby repealed as of the effective date of this ordinance, except as follows. The enactment of the Ohio Basic Code 2017 edition shall not be construed to affect the right or liability accrued or incurred under any legislative provision prior to the effective date of such enactment, excuse me, or an action or proceeding for the enforcement of such right or liability. Such enactment shall not be construed to relieve any person from punishment for an act committed in violation of any such legal provision, nor to effect an indictment or prosecution therefor. For such purposes, any such legislative provision shall continue in full force, notwithstanding its repeal, for the purpose of revision and codification. B, the repeal provided above shall not affect, I don't have to read all this part.
No, it's got it.
Shall not affect, I know I don't, the grant or creation of a franchise, license, right, or easement, or privilege, the purchase, sale, lease, or transfer of property, the appropriation or expenditure of money or promise or guarantee of payment, the assumption of any contract or obligation, the issuance and delivery of any bonds, obligations, or other instruments of indebtedness, the levy or imposition of taxes, assessments, or charges, the establishment, naming, vacating, or grade level of any street or public way, the dedication of property or plat approval, the annexation or detachment of territory, any legislation enacted subsequent to the adoption of this ordinance, any legislation specifically ceding the provision of the Ohio Basic Code, Section 4, when reference is made in any documents, publications, or signs of the municipality, including but not limited to traffic tickets and traffic control signs, to a section as it existed in a former edition of the Ohio Basic Code, the reference shall extend and apply to the section referred to as subsequently amended, revised, recodified, or renumbered. Section 5. This ordinance is declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the peace, health, safety, and general welfare of the people of this municipality, and shall take effect at the earliest date provided by law. No one applauds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a lifesaver. I need a motion to accept ordinance 2017-03, please.
Motion made.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
I would need a motion to forego the 3 reading rule and pass this as an emergency, please.
Motion made.
Roll call, please.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Yes.
Old business, nothing. New business, employee statement of salaries.
This has to do with the audit. When they came into audit, they wanted a chronological following of what starting salaries were for people who work for us. Of course, these people, most of them didn't work for us anymore, which was part of the problem. But they needed it chronologically, raise here, to come from what they were hired at and what they were receiving now. The audit included those figures. We didn't have it, and at one point, there was some person, we couldn't find it on us. Is that correct? Correct. We could never get, because it hadn't been done correctly in the first, it was just goofed up and didn't get done, and so they looked and looked, and it wasn't there. So the suggestion was made, and other villages do this, to have a listing of the salaries, to pass it every year, as they are on the first of the year. Doesn't have to be an ordinance or a resolution, because it's going to change during the year as people are given raises or not, or whatever. New people are hired, and they'll be added to it. It's more or less a tool for the next audit and for Mandy. So all she has to do is pull out those, she keeps them, she gives them to them. It documents everywhere to look for salaries and increases.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think we should adopt I move that we accept the statement of employee salaries for 2017.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kathy?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Communication from the mayor. Only thing I have to ask council about is last month we had Lauren from the Ohio State Treasury Office who was wanting to put all of our information online. We need to have discussion about that. My personal feelings is we don't try to hide anything from anybody. They're more than welcome to come down here and look at that. But I think we open up a lot of phone calls to Mandy. That's going to be unnecessary. When people call about every little dollar item or $10 item that you spend money on. But that's my opinion. We need to have a discussion here amongst council so we can give her an answer on it as to what council would like to.
Generally, in a perfect world, it would be a very good idea. But I have to agree, they're not, if you want to know and you want to understand, come down here. Then when you look at something online, it would make sense to you. We don't have enough people participating that I think it wouldn't create. And I'm not saying nobody would know what it was. Lots of people would understand it. Those who didn't or chose not to could become a real distraction to getting her job done. I think right now we're fine. If in the future they want to look at doing that, I'm sure the program will still be around.
Tracy, your thoughts on it?
After spending some time thinking about it, I agree with Cassie on that. I think it's available to them if they want it. I don't think we ought to go to great lengths to put it out there, why? They're welcome to come with the information anytime they want.
Bill, your thoughts?
I agree also. I don't think it's time that money needs to be spent. Something else to do. They can come look at it.
I mean, I just feel like there's not a whole lot of, until you do something somebody does like, you don't hear from them. And then all of a sudden, there's not a lot of interest in what's going on down here right now. People are interested and wanted to come down, and we found that we were spending a lot of time explaining things during meetings. It would be a godsend to put it all online, but I don't know.
And I think
I
that's
could be
why
wrong. I am.
Camden did that, is because I think they had a couple individuals that were
Camden
constantly.
did it, was that where, I
Camden
knew she told us
doing
somebody
it,
was.
yeah. But I think she had a couple individuals that were constantly coming down and bugging her and asking about everything. I think that's why they.
Just decided to put it out there so they didn't have to put it on their motor.
Ralph, your thoughts?
I say leave it as is.
Okay, we will tell her that, thank her, but at this point in time, we're not interested in participating.
I'd rather see more public action on there and have chairs and face-to-face with them.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to.
Well, because then you can get an explanation.
That's right.
If you don't understand, and if we don't know, then we'll get the explanation and pass it on. But just putting it out there cold, it worries me that people would misconstrue what it said or not understand. Well, and instead of, what really bothers me is instead of coming down here and finding out, they'd just be talking it up all over the place.
Tapes
You
are
know,
available from the meeting.
and that's not most people. That's a few people. But,
High margin's always out there.
Is there anything from anyone else that'd like to be run tonight? If not, next meeting will be March 6, 2017 at 7 p.m. I would need a motion to adjourn.
so moved.